watch fan streams.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Fan Stream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show. For guys, so much for joining us here. It's playoff week, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. The fact that it doesn't feel like it's hitting the town like it normally would. Maybe we're used to being in the playoffs now, but we got a Monday Night Football game coming up with the freaking Dallas Cowboys, the Bucs and the Cowboys. And I mean, who would have dreamed of this, Nick Geddes, when you were growing up a Bucs fan? We didn't even have Monday night playoff games.
No, if we had a playoff game, and again, I was little when these ones were going on, like the 05 one, the 07 one. I don't even recall if those were even night games at all. They were like probably early afternooners.
Yes. Yeah, there was, when I first got here in 97, we went to the playoffs, and that was the first one in the old sombrero against the Detroit Lions and Barry Sanders, if I'm not mistaken. My history serves me correctly here.
Yeah, can't imagine that was on prime time.
No, it was not. But that was cool, and I was like, oh, wow, the Bucs go to the playoffs every year, right? This is what it's about.
I don't think it. I agree with you though that there's not as much buzz for this one, but I don't think it's because we've gotten used to it. I just think this season has been very taxing on the fan base. At least me. I don't know about how you feel, even as someone who covers the team. It's been exhausting. It's been exhausting. And I think we're trying to get past what we saw for 17 weeks and put that all to rest and focus on a playoff game.
Yeah, and it's so weird because, I've been looking at a little bit of Dallas games, go back and watch some of their condensed games. And what you see from the Dallas team is they can score points, man. They can put up points. And CeeDee Lamb is, he's developed into quite a river. They're explosive. Tony Pollard's explosive. Zeke, just pounds it. Dak made mistakes. There's no question. And watching this morning, it's all about, his mistakes and his interceptions and everything. And that's a thing. There's no question about it. But, they're explosive. If he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns and throw 1 pick, they're going to win the game. That's just how do you think the Bucs are going to score 30, 35 points on this Dallas Cowboys defense? And this defense is not great, especially with the fact with Micah Parsons has kind of cooled off. And as we heard on Monday from Brady Tinker, who covers the Cowboys, his legs are just kind of dead. That's what he sees. And he's not a big guy. He's not a Lawrence Taylor. He's 235 pounds. So it's, he's gotten beat up a little bit this year. So he's not the dynamic player that we saw in week 1. And we saw through the first half of the season. This Dallas Cowboys defense gave up over 500 yards to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this is not an imposing defense. And the Cowboys have kind of gone through a lot of different iterations this year. There was, the Cooper Rush. They were pounding the football and running it really well. And Dak came in and they started scoring a lot of points. And now Dak has kind of started throwing a lot of picks. But they won 12 games. They're a good football team. There's no question about it. They're a talented football team. And what you wonder is, are the Bucs going to revert to being that team that we saw most of the season that just can't get out of their own way offensively, bad penalties, terrible play calling, all of that? That's been their identity. I mean, I'm saying to myself this morning, I'm like, what is the Bucs identity? If you don't know what the Bucs identity is here in the first week of the playoffs, and I'm not sure, unless you're going to say, well, we're a team that doesn't do squat for 57 minutes, and then we turn it, our defense keeps us in the, break the hysterical, and we win the game. That's not an identity. That's a psycho crisis. You're just not playing football the right way. And so much of that, I think, has just been because this team is dysfunctional. I've said it for a long time. It seems dysfunctional in a lot of different ways. And, a lot of it has to do with the offensive play calling and what's going on. Is it Tom? Is it Byron? Does Bowles have any input? What is Arians doing? I've been told multiple times, not much. So this is Byron and Brady, and this is what you get. And everybody wants to blame Byron, but he's the same guy that was calling the plays the last 2 years. I'm not saying he's absolved of anything, but how do you throw everything on him and not on Brady? Brady hasn't played well this year. All of that goes into it. And now we're like, okay, But I think you can make the case that this team is trending in the right direction later in the season. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Brady just knows that they were in must-win situations. And I think he definitely has in the back of his mind, he has to preserve himself for a whole season. But when you get to the end of the season and everything's on the line, like it's been basically for the last 4 or 5 weeks, I mean, we haven't really talked about this because the rest of the division has been so bad. But I think the Bucs, rightly so, have realized that they could not afford another loss. Even down the stretch. So they've been in the playoffs in must-win situations for quite some time, and they've fared pretty well, frankly. They've won a lot of these games. So, you don't count the last game against the Falcons. So they're trending in the right direction.
They are. The concern there is the level of opponent in these must-win games is nowhere near the Dallas Cowboys when they play at their best. And I know
Arizona, no.
As I've mentioned, it's like a lot of people are focusing on Dak Prescott and his struggles, and I'm like, yeah, I get he's turning the ball over a little bit too much, but still, and since he's come back, I said it, 11 games, they've been averaging 32 points a game.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be number one in the league, maybe.
Yeah.
They've scored over 40 points like 4 times. They scored over 51 games.
They scored over 40 against the Eagles.
Yeah, they scored 34 in a loss to the Eagles. Like they can put up points. So I don't think
34, right.
The whole thing about Dak Prescott being a problem coming into this and the Cowboys offense, I think that's a lot of based on what we saw against Washington, where they went for it, right? And they kind of fell flat on their face, and now they come in with no momentum. But I think the whole thing about Dallas's offense being a concern, I don't think you're going to get anywhere near the performance you saw of them against Washington.
Yeah. I think they're going to be ready to go and play their best football. But that being said, they're a flawed team. They're a flawed team.
And you know what's interesting too?
Yeah, they beat the Eagles 40-34.
Yeah.
That's what
interesting.
40 points against the Eagles defense.
Pretty damn good. And interesting thing with the Cowboys, and I again, these stats to me are so funny, but the Cowboys have played on grass 7 times this year and have 1 win. 1 win. They are 1-6 when having to play on grass this year.
Interesting stat. Way to come up with that one.
So imagine that.
I wonder why. Well, they probably played,
or in their last 7 games, or rather, played on grass.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
Huh. I'd like to see the teams that they've played.
I had to get the breakdown of the teams.
There's not much grass left in the NFL.
There's not much grass, but I saw that yesterday, and I was like, could be something, could be nothing. Who knows?
Yeah, but they're a fast team, in terms of Pollard and CeeDee Lamb and some of their receivers. So whatever, but that's a real number there, especially how far back does that go? Obviously, that goes back. That just can't be just this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I saw it yesterday. I'm trying to get the exact stat here.
Okay. That's an interesting stat, but I just think this is a super close game. Anybody can win this game.
Yeah, here you go. It was I think that goes back to last year, but this season, the difference on grass right here, they're 1-4 on grass, averaging 22 a game, giving up 27 a game, and Tampa, the Eagles, and the 49ers, who they would all have to go through, all play on grass.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then on turf, they're 11-1, averaging 30 a game and giving up just 17.
Yeah, and all their home games are on turf, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and home field advantage. So interesting. Maybe they're just not a very good road team in general. But that's a. We'll have John Gerber on Wednesday from the Rough Podcast Golf Predictions. And he always talks about the grass, so maybe he'll have some interesting grass notes for the Bucs Cowboys game.
And the games also, the teams they played were Philly, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Washington on grass.
Say that again.
Philly, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Washington.
Interesting. That's an interesting number. Huh. Nice catch there. All right, so we didn't get a chance to play any of Brady's podcasts. I thought he was interesting on his well-sponsored podcast on Monday night and had some things to say about this Atlanta game and then also moving on to the Cowboys in the playoffs as well. So I want to get into that a little bit. And, look, it's funny. I'm watching Get Up this morning and the whole crew there, Damian Woody, Kimberly Martin, Dominique Foxworth, who else did they have on today? Chris Kenny. And all of them to a man and a woman said, who cares? These are 2 bad teams. They're not going anywhere.
The Cowboys are a bad team?
Yeah, they're down on the Cowboys. They're like, the Cowboys are not playing well. Dak's not playing well. They're like, but it's the Bucs, and the Bucs are awful too. So it's like, it's hard to really, and I don't think that's I hate to tell you, Buck fans, but that's not an outrageous opinion. The Bucs are not a good football team. They're just not. They're just an average football team. That's what
we've
they tell
seen
us.
so far.
From what we've seen so far, they're an average football team. But they do become extraordinary in the moments when they have to have it. And you know what the playoffs are?
They're about
you gotta
those
have
moments.
it. You gotta have it. So this is kind of the X thing is, and you go back and you look at the games that this team has won and how they've won these games. They've been unbelievable with their backs against the wall. When they have to have a play to win a game that they have to have, they've pretty much done it. Now, they've gotten crushed by the good teams that they played. But, in general, and they've lost to some bad teams. But those were in games that they didn't have to have. When they needed it most, Tom Brady, and it's just not Tom Brady, it's Mike Evans, it's Chris Godwin, it's all of them. Rashad White with a game-winning touchdown catch. There's a lot of guys that have stepped up in big moments, and that's what the playoffs are all about. And the Bucs have an incredible amount of playoff experience and good experience. Cowboys, not so much. So they have not won a playoff road game since like 1992.
I think I saw something too. They haven't,
Unbelievable.
like they're gonna wear like navy, I guess, in this game, and they haven't won a game on the road wearing navy since that jerseys actually weren't even navy, and Roger Staubach was wearing it.
I never get.
It's fascinating.
I never get the uniform stuff. Never get it. And those stats mean absolutely nothing.
I'm going full on today.
Nothing.
I'm going full on.
I heard
today
people
with these
say.
things.
I heard people say, "Oh, the Bucs should break out the creamsicles for Monday night."
Are you out of your flipping mind?
Are you out of your mind?
I mean, I'm Team Creamsicle, but how many playoff wins did those creamsicles get?
One,
maybe a few in 1979.
Yeah.
That's it, probably, right?
Yeah, they won 2 games that year, 1 game.
Well, they got to the conference title
game,
game,
NFC Championship, and they lost.
Yeah. Did they win any other games in Creamsicle the rest of their time until they went to Pewter Power?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. You're out of your freaking mind.
First of all, I'm never putting Brady in a creamsicle, but
you know what?
Next year, yeah, because
wear the Super Bowl specials. Just wear the white on the pewter. To me, that's the best that you got. Just wear that if you're into that uniform kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I know you're not, but
wear a freaking potato sack. I don't care. Just go win the freaking game. Go in the freaking game. All right. Let's do Brady talking about the health of this football team, including one Ryan Jensen, which is interesting. We'll find out more today when Bowles is not talking today. Byron Leftwich is talking today. They mixed it up.
A day early?
Well, everything's pushed back a day because of the Monday night.
So I get an early in the week lunchtime with Byron. I wasn't prepared for this.
Well, reschedule 1:00. Byron Leftwich.
This calls for me to go through Chick-fil-A today and shout out Chris Lugo to get some grilled nuggets.
Grilled nuggets. There you go.
I say that for now, but we'll see.
Yeah, you won't, man. When you're at the point of decision, you're gonna be when she's looking at you and she go, "What are we gonna have today?"
When you're gonna smell it.
You're gonna smell that fried chicken. You're gonna go, "I'll have the grill. F it. Give me the." Give me the nuggets. You'll have Chris Lugo pop up on your shoulder. What are you doing? Grill.
I'm awful.
And they taste good too when you dunk them in the sauce. It's marginal at best.
I suppose.
But the health benefits are so much more.
Not to get on a tangent here,
and
but
the other part of it is when the grilled nuggets look so small.
That's what the thing. I feel like I need 2 orders of them. You need 2 orders of them to really be satisfied.
Well, I'll give you a coupon, so you can at least get them free.
There you go. But let's listen to Tom here.
There we go.
Are those folks going to be able to play?
I hope so, and we can talk about it more next Monday night on Let's Go.
I don't think.
But this Monday night, we have 7 days to prepare. We've got kind of the whole week. I don't know. I'm sure everyone's a little bit day to day right now. I'm hoping we're pretty healthy. I mean, I believe we're going to be as healthy as we've been all year, which is kind of exciting. To get some guys back that haven't been in there, and then see if we can go play our best football. Because I even said after the game, it sucks being 8-9. You're playing against teams that have way better records, 12-5, whatever it is. But you know what? The only thing that matters is who wins that day. That's the best part about NFL football playoffs. It doesn't matter what you did 10 weeks ago. And I'm not saying you're going to win because you played 10 weeks ago. I'm saying, no, the person who wins and the team that wins is the one that prepares the best and ultimately executes the best for those 3 hours on that playoff game. And sometimes I feel like we've been the better team and lost. Sometimes we haven't been the better team and won. It doesn't matter. How did you perform on that stage in the biggest moment of the biggest moment of the season? And we'll see if we can go out there and get it done.
You mentioned some guys coming back. Is Ryan Jensen possibly going to play? He's been out all year.
He's been working pretty hard. I don't know the status again on Monday. I mean, I think we'll know more by the end of the week. But I'm proud of him for what he's overcome, and it would be a big boost. There's no doubt about it. But I don't, again, know what his status is in particular.
First of all, if I could just, before we talk about what he said, I'm contemplating this question for Tom on Thursday. Oh, actually, he's going to be on Friday. I'm contemplating this question. Let me know if you guys think I should go with this one. Tom, I'm a loyal listener of your wonderfully well-sponsored podcast, Let's Go, each and every week. It's a great show, by the way. And I was just wondering if for maybe the rest of the season, we could get that Tom Brady in here, like the real glib, upbeat, wonderful dude who talks for a half an hour and has these really long, great answers to our questions. Any chance that can happen today and the rest of the way? Is that too snarky?
I think it's a bit too snarky, yeah. And I don't think you're going to get the answer you're looking for.
I think he might light up and then like have some fun with it. I don't know. Or he might just shut me down.
Yeah,
completely
3 days before a playoff game.
Yeah,
I don't think he wants that question.
Yeah, no, you don't think so?
No.
Maybe if it was earlier in the week.
Maybe back in training camp if you would ask that question.
Maybe middle of the season. Yeah.
Not the middle of the season this year. No.
Yeah, that wasn't
bad time.
But I mean, he's so different. He's so different with Jim and with all the sponsors.
Well, he trusts Jim. There's a trust there, a working relationship for a while. It's a little different.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, you can still have a nice outlook and be a little bit more forthcoming.
Well, again,
I mean, clearly he's choosing to be forthcoming with the podcast, but with us.
He spent 20 years next to Bill Belichick knowing how to do this. And if you listen to Bill Belichick in other avenues, he's a completely different person than he is at the podium.
True.
He doesn't do that. Yeah, well,
true.
He doesn't do that everywhere else he talks.
That's true. That's a good point. So he's just not going to give us anything because he's obligated to do this with the press.
Correct.
And he really doesn't like us or trust us.
Correct.
Fair point.
Good points and crap
Fair
cakes.
point. Fair point. And I mean, my questions would be fine, but there are some others from time to time that I don't know. No, I've asked some dumb questions too. Not of Tom Brady, but I've asked some dumb questions in my day. No doubt about that. But as to the health, yeah, I think it's a great point. This team is getting healthy, and that is a huge thing as we go into the postseason each and every year. Tell me the team that's the healthiest, and I'll tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl. Now, unfortunately, Ryan Jensen, we can't count on him to start and be at his best. That's not going to happen. He may have to play with Hainsey's situation and his hamstring, and I would think that they're going to activate him this week because going into this game, if Hainsey has a hamstring, you can easily, re-injure that during the game. And if he were to go down, would you want to move Leverett over, move Gedeke in, or would you rather go Ryan Jensen or Molchen, or would you rather go Ryan Jensen and keep Leverett where he is? And, if it's half the game left or a quarter of the game left, are you okay with throwing Ryan Jensen in there having not played in a game? Which is the reason I wanted to hopefully get some snaps last week, but that didn't happen. He's just not ready, I guess. Or this is all just complete conjecture because he's not ready to play.
I don't think he's ready to play. And I think they're coming to the end of the window here. And the way it works for people who aren't familiar, if we get to the end of the 21-day window and he's not activated, then he's got to go back on IR, and that's it. There's no, maybe we give him another 2 weeks.
Right.
No, that's it.
Right.
You have a 21 days. So he's
got to be added to the roster.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to go.
And somebody's got to go. And that's a risk because you get down to the playoffs. You never know what could happen with injuries. And if you have a player that's taking up a spot that just can't go, then it's kind of a detriment potentially. So
yeah, but
it's a risk.
There's a lot of risk in this game.
There is a lot of risk.
You got to calculate the risk and say, what is our best situation? And of course that's going to, so much of that is going to be really proprietary knowledge that the Bucs have in their training staff, because they have all these different they used to have the Cybex machine that you would test your knee on, and it would tell you how much strength that you've got back. There were baselines, but I don't know where that is.
I tell you this too, though. It's like, and I know this shouldn't matter, but I'm just going to put it out there. I would honestly feel a little bit for a Robert Hainsey. Should Ryan Jensen be available to play? I'm not going to make the argument that Robert Hainsey's better. I'm just saying I don't think he's been anywhere near a weakness on the offensive line.
No.
And I think he's honestly done a pretty solid job.
Yep.
I would hate it for him. You get to the playoffs and a guy who hasn't played all year, sorry guy, but you got to go down. But I get it. It's Ryan Jensen. He's an all-pro caliber center, but my whole point is I don't want Robert Hainsey's play to go unnoticed this year because I think it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Again, these are
tough decisions. You got to make them.
And we do not have the information that the coaches have in this situation. So it's really hard for us to make even an educated guess on what they should do, because so much of this is about about his health and the numbers that they're getting in their strength testing and all this stuff that we are not privy to. And he's been out there, so I'm sure that he's tested the knee in blocking situations. Of course, we haven't seen that. We have no idea what that looks. Now, if he's been out there for 2 weeks knocking guys around, well then, and see, this is where I don't trust his staff, man. I just don't trust the staff with these evaluations, because the stuff, when we finally see guys on the field, we're like, oh my God, Nick Leverett is so much better than Luke Gedeke. What were we doing? Rashad White is so much better. I won't say so much better, but he's better. He gives you a different burst and some speed and some elusiveness that Leonard doesn't get you with this, which this offense is obviously clearly missing. In Devin Tompkins, we've been talking about him for a long time, that we need to see what he's able to do on the field. We finally do. He's clearly your better returner. Where the hell has he been? And you don't know who else is on this, practice squad or anything else that could be playing. And you see guys that are out there playing that aren't very good, So that's where it's hard for me to trust this coaching staff, because they've made some blunders in this area, to be sure. All right. Brady was asking, can we fix everything in a week and beat the Cowboys?
Generally, that emotion, there's a lot of, I would say, in an NFL season, you run the gamut of emotions. Every emotion you have in your body: joy, frustration, anger, happiness, relief, being stunned, being sad, being hurt, being healthy. All those things you feel at some point test who you are, and they test your resilience. And if you can deal with and have some introspective to look at how you performed and what you've done and use it as a benefit going forward, I think it's very helpful to eliminate frustration, to put you in a great place, because it's almost, it's basically every team's now 0-0. We're all basically in, and now you got to go play good football. There's no records associated with kind of our performance at this point. So the answer is yes, if you play well, but it's also, you've got to have learned the lessons from the losses and from the wins and from the days of practice where it didn't go well, from the days of practice where it did go well. Hopefully you're learning all season, and that's how you can ultimately become the best team that you can be.
And see, this is one thing I've learned from Brady over the past 3 years, is how, I've never really looked at football seasons in this way as much as I do now, is that it is an evolution. Your team evolves over the year. You have to deal with injuries. You find out some guys can play, some guys can't, because NFL is constant change, right? And you have to continue to get better. And when you look at the last 2 seasons, you kind of saw that. Certainly in the first season, even though they were losing some games, you saw them getting better incrementally. And then, things were working. They were developing an identity, and you're like, okay, this is going to be a good team. This finished product is going to be a really good team at the end. Last year, I kind of felt the same way. It was like, man, these guys can score points. The defense is good. Let's see if we can build on things as we go through the year. And they seem to do that and get into the playoffs. Now, at the end of the year, with the whole Antonio Brown things, there we go. We talk about evolving. Things change. And this team changed, and you were like, as they went into the playoffs, you're like, I don't know. Like, they're missing something. They're just missing something on offense, and that's what they were missing. And eventually it was their downfall, to be quite honest. And defensively, they slipped a little bit as well. So that team kind of, broke out, it hit their stride, and then dealt with some adversities that, were kind of self-inflicted with the AB thing. And then they just didn't finish on a high note, right? They went into the playoffs and they were just kind of like not the team that you wanted them to be. They're missing a few things. And this team, can you honestly say that they've gotten better over the year and evolved? No, it was the same crap every week. You kept hoping to see some type of evolution, and they just didn't evolve. You can't run the football. You suck at third down. You suck in the red zone, and nothing ever improved. Nothing.
We've seen this team put together, I'll say, a strong 3 quarters against Seattle.
Yep.
We saw this team put together.
So they went to these stupid ass throwback. Twice.
That's why I say 3 quarters there. We saw them put together a really strong first half against the Bengals, and we saw them put a really strong fourth quarter together against Arizona to an extent, because it was almost half a fourth quarter. I'll say half a fourth quarter in overtime, and then the totality of the fourth quarter against Carolina.
Yeah.
I think that's been the best that the offense has looked, save obviously the moments late in the game against LA, New Orleans, those type of games where they just drive made it happen.
They were down 14-0 to the Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, and bad coaching.
But outside of that,
for the long field goal, giving them a short. So it's
outside of that, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. And what do we suddenly expect this team to get it against the Cowboys?
I don't know why, but I kind of have a feeling. I don't know. I'm going strictly off feeling. Maybe I'm going off fandom. I don't know. I have no evidence to back it up.
Listen, I feel the same thing you're feeling. I just have an inkling that we saw a little bit against Cincinnati. But the last time I did that, I was like, after the Seattle game, I was like, oh, okay, they got this.
And do you pay attention?
They figured it out.
Do you pay attention?
No, they didn't.
You mention it sometimes. You pay attention to like Vegas with the lines and all that throughout the week.
Absolutely.
It's not a major change right now, and there's still things that could change. Obviously, we're just in game's Monday, but it started at 3, and it's already come down to 2.5.
Yeah.
So it's a minor change, but I think it, if you're a believer in those things, I have to think as we keep going here and people keep starting to talk bad about the Cowboys and the whole Tom Brady thing in the playoffs. Do you want to bet against him? Do you want to make that mistake? I have a feeling that line's going to keep coming down.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, maybe even if a point or a point and a half.
Well, Brady Tinker said it on Monday that the first opening line is there to get the public to bet, get them going.
Yeah.
And then they'll adjust it as the lines and the money comes in. And money's coming in on Tampa Bay because I think absolutely people are starting to look at the Cowboys as maybe not this juggernaut.
I think it has everything to do against the Washington game.
Yeah,
that has ruined everything in that.
Which I think is stupid.
It is.
It's stupid because that the Cowboys went into that game with their toe kind of half in the water. They all knew in the back of their minds that Philadelphia was not going to blow that situation, and it was probably a meaningless game. And the Commodes were out there to take it to the Cowboys. Like we're gonna like kind of like the Falcons were to the Buccaneers. Like we're gonna salvage our season with the win here, and we're gonna leave with a good taste in our mouth and go into the offseason that way. And when you're half-hearted in the NFL, I don't care who you're playing, you're gonna get beat most of the time. And I think you saw that with the Cowboys. They're going to be a much better. I expect to see the team that beat the Eagles, not the team that lost to the Commodes. And do you Bucs fans in your heart of hearts? In your heart of hearts, do you think the Bucs can beat that Dallas team that beat the Eagles 40-34? Do you? No, and that was a Gardner Minshew game, wasn't it? I think
it was a Gardner Minshew game.
Well, he didn't play horribly, but did make a few mistakes. But I still expect that to be, the team that scores points, and the Bucs can't score points. So if you just objectively look at this game, I think it's hard to make a case for the Bucs winning it.
If you look at it objectively, yeah. Like I said,
that's what we're supposed to do.
I know. I'm going off emotion because I'm a fan and I'm trying to get myself jacked up for this game. And I'm trying to, again, like I've been mentioning, is the whole idea that Tom Brady can overcome this and he can be that guy late in the game has tested me so many times this year. But I've seen it enough lately that tells me it's still there.
How do you bet against him?
And we're in playoff time. And am I going to be that guy that comes here and be like, he's done. Like, it's over. Like,
I'm so conflicted on this game. I'm so conflicted.
Like, no, I'm not going to do that. You just never know with the guy.
I gotta dig into some more tape and look at some more numbers. I'm just conflicted. Because the objective part of me says the Dallas will outscore them, and we just can't score enough points to keep up. That's the objective part of me. And then the other part of me says, but what about Brady? What about Brady? You can't ignore it. You want to bet against him? Go ahead. He damn near pulled out that Rams game last year, and we had no business being in that game. So he's the X factor. He's the X factor with everything you want to look at, and objectively, there's still that X factor standing over the whole damn game. And that's Tom Brady has never lost to the Dallas freaking Cowboys. And he doesn't lose in the playoffs in the first round most years. All of those trends go the Bucs way. Most every other objective matchup you look at, you go Cowboys. So I guess we got to suck on that for a week. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Brian Bradley, Lightning's first All-Star, about last night's big 6-3 win. We were watching together last night at Amalie Arena. So we'll talk about it. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you are looking to lose weight after the holidays or testosterone replacement therapy, which I highly recommend to all you gentlemen out there, that is the place to go. Chris Lugo and his staff will get you right. It's BAMMC.com. And the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3 with Brian Bradley. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have improvement to our home. Call the Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. Call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program off this January if you buy something with the burst dome, which is garnet.
Garnet and Gold, Florida State, get something for your criminal. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. If your car has been totaled in an accident and you don't think you got as much money as you deserve, you probably did not. That's what insurance companies do. So the Jeeves Law Group specializes in this type of litigation, and they will get you the money you deserve. Insurance companies do not like to hear from the Jeeves Law Group. Trust me on that. So they'll pony up. They'll pony up, no question. They got the money. So just find out if you have the case, right? Just all you got to do is go to Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Give them a call, free consultation. Tell them what the situation is, and they'll tell you if they have a case. So there you go. Pretty simple stuff. You can make a lot of money. Go do it, JeevesLawGroup.com. All right, we want to welcome in our good friend Brian Bradley, the Lightning's first all-star and leading scorer that back in the day. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good, JP. How are you doing today?
Outstanding, my friend. Outstanding after a 6-3 win last night over, let's just, be honest, there's very struggling Columbus team, but that's okay. We did what we had to do, and Cooch came up with 4 points. He was magnificent. Had a couple of bad turnovers, but, that's Cooch. What'd you think of the performance last night?
You know what? It was kind of, it was a 6-3 win. I mean, after coming off the loss in Minnesota and Winnipeg. Just wasn't a good game in Winnipeg where we took a lot of penalties, gave up some 5-on-3s, just kind of like an average game at best. And, Vazzy never played, he wasn't feeling good too. So, I mean, to have Vazzy back in, that was great. And, you know what, I thought the team, they were playing really well in the first, maybe period or so. They were out shooting them like 14 or 12 to 1 or 2.
21 to 6 in the first period.
Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah. And then, they let them off the hook and, let them get back in the game. But, at the end of the day, you know what? I mean, Columbus is what? The record's 12 and 26 or something like that. They're not a real good team this year. They got Line and they got Johnny Gaudreau, but they just don't have a lot of depth. They're just not to me, they're just one of the bottom teams in the NHL. And you know what? We should win that game. And you know what? We got another team, Vancouver, coming in Thursday night, and their record's like 17, I think, and 20 or something like that. But they lost to Pittsburgh last night. But overall, I mean, Kucherov had 4 points, but Nick Paul scored. I thought Nemestikov's goal was awesome. It was a 2-1 game. We were dominating the game and let him back in. The guy scored a great slap shot, and then Nemestikov has a breakaway, does a great move to his backhand, and then scores a really nice goal. And then they make it 3-2. Then Kucherov, Point, Colton, and they blew the game right out of the water. At that point, 6-2, and then Vazzy was pissed at the end of the game, and he gave up a goal. 6-2 to 6-3, broke his stick. But I thought Hedman played good. Stamkos had a couple assists. Hedman had 2 assists. Yeah. I mean, I like Ross Colton scoring. I like Nemestikov scoring. Nick Paul scored. There are a lot of good signs last night for guys getting goals. I mean, I'd still wish, Stamkos would get, knock on wood now, his 500 goal on Thursday before he goes his trip. His dad's in town. And you know what? I think it's weighing on him and the team right now. I mean, that's a big milestone. I mean, 46 guys to ever do it in the NHL. And I mean, sometimes you start squeezing your stick tighter than you want. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, I just hope he gets it on Thursday night and, against Vancouver, and everybody can be happy. We can celebrate and see something that not many people get to see, that 500 goal.
Yeah, last night he hit a crossbar, I think, and then at the end of the game, Merzlikins made a great save on one of them. And then I don't
know how he got it. He got it with the paddle of his stick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. How did he I thought it might have hit the back of the net and went out, but it didn't. But I mean, just unfortunate. Sometimes, like I said, JP, you talk about going for these big milestones, you squeeze your stick, you start thinking too much. And Stamkos is a scorer. Just shoot the puck. Wherever it goes, it goes. It's probably going in.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, he had a great opportunity late in the game with about a minute left to go. He got the puck in center ice on a great pass, and Merzlikins made another great save. So we'll see if it happens on Thursday night when Vancouver comes to town. Yeah, they've been struggling a little bit. Yeah, the Lightning had 46 shots last night, partner, which ties the season high.
Yeah.
Their faceoff percentage was 66.7%. They won 2/3 of the faceoffs, and they were 3 for 4.
Which is
on the power play. That's
crazy.
Yeah.
But 3 for 4 on the power play. I can all see that, JP. I mean, because our power play is ridiculous. Like Kucherov on the half wall. I mean, it's unbelievable. For all you fans that don't understand how good he is with the puck, when he gets that puck on the power play, there's nothing you can do to defend that. I mean, you just hope he doesn't get it and make a great play, but he usually does. But I mean, I think the thing that really looks, you just talked about it, 66% on the faceoffs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's such a high number because think about it. When you win faceoffs, what do you get? You get control of the puck. It's like in football. If your offense is on the field, your defense is resting, and you get to score points. Well, if you're winning faceoffs, you're getting control of the puck, and the other team's always trying to fight to get it back. That's a crazy high number. That doesn't happen often, that percentage.
Yeah. Well, and it's something that the Lightning had struggled with earlier in the season, which is good. Hey, Victor Hedman, big couple days for him. He welcomes his second son, Vigo, which I love that name, Vigo, Viggo.
Yeah.
His wife's doing great. Baby's doing great, and he played with a little bit of extra something last night. I don't know, almost scored, had a couple of assists, and was flying around. I think we're starting to see the reemergence of Victor Hedman here. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? I thought, the first 20 games or so, he was just okay for a superstar. But, now his wife, she had a little baby boy, and, everybody's healthy and, which is great. And, Victor's a great guy. He's like, top 1 or 2 defensemen in the NHL for sure. And you know what? But I love when Victor goes up in the play. I mean, doesn't mean he goes up every time, but Ray Bourque, different guys, Paul Coffey, they go up there. They see that odd man rush. Victor's so good at skating and jumping into the tack. When he sees an odd man rush, he's got to go with it and even carry with it. He's too good a player just to play defensive hockey and not get points because he can put up 60, 70, 80 points like Cale Makar. He just got to go do it. He's did it before. Yep. I think at the beginning, I don't know, maybe an injury or he wasn't doing what he had to do. But, when Victor moves up into play and becomes a factor for our team, he's just another weapon that there's teams don't have a guy like that. They cannot do stuff like that. And you know what? Even if he makes a mistake down low, he's so fast and such a long reach at 6'6" or 7 to get back into play. His skating is world class. So you know what? He's never going to get caught.
Yeah. So true. And speaking of defensemen, Brian, and I'll give Brian Engblom some credit on this. On our post-game show last night, he brought this up. Nick Perbix had 7 shots on goal last night, and Sergachev had 5 shots on goal. The defense as a whole, I think, had 19 of the 46 shots. I mean, that's pretty impressive, both of those guys. And Perbix is just he's got a way of being able to find that shot and get it through from the point. He's been such a welcome surprise, but that shot total, I've been noticing that over the season. This kid gets some shots on goal.
Yeah, no, and Sergachev had 5, he had 7.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Braden Point had 6.
Right.
You're talking guys, and then honestly, I thought the game last night, their goalie played well, made some big saves. I thought the game could have been 10 or 11 or 12-2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was getting out. The goalie made some big saves, but you know what? Those goals are going to go in by our defensemen when they get shots through and stuff like that. I like Nick Paul played a good game. Ross Colton scored, but I mean, young kid, Nick Purvis, he deserves, a lot of credit. Here's a kid that, when we came to training camp this year, I'm not kidding you. I don't think anybody had him on the radar to play a game this year. Maybe a couple games going down to Syracuse, biding his time, see what he can do down there, coming out of college. And look, he's played so well, so confident with the puck. I mean, you know what? Signed a 2-year deal, which is a smart move by Julian. So I love the way he plays. I mean, he reads the ice, sees the ice well. He's not small. He's a big kid too. So, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that the Lightning do all the time with their scouting staff. They have all these guys that they find that just, are unsung heroes that no one really knows about. And all of a sudden, you know what? You give Julian Breezewell and all his staff a lot of credit because they find guys like this that other teams wish they had.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. And I don't know how and you got to give the coaching staff credit for recognizing that. And it's one of the things I think the Lightning do so very well is they don't look at when guys are drafted, how they're acquired, what their contract status is. None of that matters to them at all. And other it matters way too much. They look at the way a guy plays, how does it fit in, what are his strengths and weaknesses, how can we take advantage of it? And they give him ice time. Everything is earned. It's a meritocracy here, and it doesn't matter if you're Steven Stamkos or Victor Hedman. If you're not doing the job, you're going to get pulled. You're not going to get the ice time. Other guys are going to get it. It's what I love about John Cooper, and it's something I think that's missing from the Buccaneers, to be quite honest. It's that honest evaluation of players and putting them in the right positions, and doesn't matter what their status is. And I think that's something that maybe goes unnoticed sometimes about John Cooper and his staff.
Yeah, for sure, JP. I mean, it goes for the, Lightning organization with Julian Breezeball and, Matthew Darsh, the assistant general manager, and Al Murray, the head scout. They just pick guys that are good players. But, at the end of the day, even though they're picking guys, no one knows how they turn out.
Right.
But they usually find guys that are diamonds in the rough. And, like I said, they come in, they play, and, they warrant ice. Like, just because you're a first-round pick doesn't mean you're going to be a superstar in the NHL.
Right.
That doesn't happen. Unless you're a top 3 pick in the NHL draft, everybody else after the top 3 or 4 picks is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. If you're 10th overall, whether it's football or baseball or hockey, you don't know if that guy's going to be a star player. But, usually the top 1 or 2 or 3 picks are going to be right up there. But we don't have that. Last time we've had that was Stamkos and Hedman. So it's a long, long time ago. But we're always finding, guys with Al Murray, our scouting staff, Julian Breezeball, Matthew Darsh, assistant general manager. We're finding guys that fill in gaps that other teams wish they had. You know what? Look at Andre Flott. I think he was the last pick or 6th-round pick in the draft. What a career he had here in Tampa.
Yeah.
Crazy. Braden Point, 3rd-round pick. Kucherov, 2nd-round pick. I mean, those are guys that teams should have taken way before what they were. Where would they be today? So, you know what? I mean, you got to give the Lightning, John Cooper credit. He sees talent, knows when to play guys. And, at the end of the day, everybody talked about the big kid we made a trade from Nashville, Myers. Well, you know what? Perbix came in here, played the way he did, and took his job away. That's all the way.
Yep.
And it should be no difference between hockey or football with the Bucs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but it's organization, it's coaching, and it matters. It really matters, and those are the tough choices that great coaches have to make, and they make them. They don't look back. And Coop's made a lot of them. He's made a lot of them. All right, my friend, we get a day off, and then we're back at it tomorrow night. So I'll see you at the rink tomorrow evening for Vancouver.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a Thursday morning chit chat from the morning skate, see what's going on.
Yeah, let's do that.
For Vancouver.
Yeah, absolutely. Why
Yeah,
not? Let's
sounds
do that.
good.
All right,
Yeah, gotcha. JP, have a good day. Go Bolts. Big win last night. Then they got a long road trip coming up. 5 games out west in Seattle.
That's right. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that when that pops up, because that's going to be – they have not played well on the road. The Lightning, I think, are 9-9 on the road. So they're gonna have to pick it up a little bit, and this is the time to do it. And you know what? I bet they will. I bet they'll have a great road trip.
Yeah.
You watch and see.
Yeah.
All right, partner. Appreciate it.
You betcha, JP. Have a great day. Go Bolts.
Now, I didn't want to mention this to Brian because I'm sure he didn't see it, but there's a video going around. I haven't seen the video yet. I was listening to the Mike Calta show this morning on 102.5 The Bone, the new home of the Lightning, by the way, and my post-game show with Brian Engblom that you can listen to after the games, The Last Call, presented by Jack Daniels. So check that out, each and every home game. So evidently at the Edition last night, the hotel across, the beautiful new 5-star hotel across from, somebody on the upper floors was putting on a show. And it was caught on a lot of fans' cell phones as they were leaving. Now, I have not seen the video yet, but I'm intrigued. Why do you give me that look? They're putting on a show. Like it was, I mean, the way these guys were talking about it, it's like you could definitely tell what was going on. And a crowd developed outside Amalie Arena, and people were like taking their phones and just videotaping it. And so, yeah.
What the hell are y'all doing there in downtown Tampa on a Tuesday night?
I don't know. These guys were having fun. A couple. I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm intrigued. Maybe they just thought they were so high up that nobody was watching. But when you have a light on in a room and it's dark outside, people can see everything. In case you didn't know, they probably timed their shenanigans just right so they would be able to get the biggest bang for the buck on the show. So probably better than my post-game show, I might add. But
I don't know what to say. I don't. I'm stunned.
I'm going to see him. And I get everybody's like, oh, we got to find this. I just checked Calta's Twitter, and it's not on his Twitter. So, but inquiring minds want to know.
Do they?
Lightning? Yeah, I think so. Of course.
I don't want to know.
I mean, it's not like we gave him a luxury box, and he was in the middle of the arena, Florida Panthers. Who was that? Black. What's the rapper? What was his name? That was having
Kodak
sex
Black.
Kodak Black. That was having sex at the Panthers game. They gave him a I'm sorry, she was twerking. That's right. And everybody, it wasn't like it was in arena, but it was outside the arena, and quite the post-game show, evidently. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. I want to talk some college football, my friend. The final rankings are out, and one particular program is already having the best offseason of any other program. You know which one I'm be talking about here in just a second. Your Florida State Seminoles, leaving everybody behind. But I'm a little concerned about something. I'm a little concerned about it. We'll talk about that when we come back. We are brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, and, of course, the Gold and Diamond Source. It's Garnet month. January is Garnet for your birthstone. You can get 15% off anything with Garnet gemstone in it. And, of course, still great time to get engaged, and no place better than the Gold and Diamond Source. We'll be back in 3. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. John Gerber is going to join us at 11:30, and we're going to talk some golf. To check on his picks from last week, and I'm sure they were good. Some picks this week's. What is it? The Sony Open this week? I believe it is. We'll do that at 11:30. So Florida State has jumped up to number 10 in the coaches poll. They finish top 10 with wins over Oklahoma, LSU, Florida, and a rout of Miami. That's a pretty damn good rebound from a team that was 0-4 the year before with a loss to Jacksonville State. That is a remarkable turnaround. And the ridiculous all too early preseason hype for next year. Some polls have them as high as number 4. Now that I'm not sure I like that. I don't like the putting these guys in a favorites position, but you're going to have to handle it because of what's been happening in this offseason. We didn't really talk about it, but Jared Verse announced over the weekend that he's coming back to Florida State. Jared Verse, who some people had mocked as the number 6 pick in the draft. Are you kidding me? Who does that? What the hell is going on in Tallahassee? What the hell is Mike Norvell selling? I will say this. Their new NIL consortium, Battle's End, is I saw a tweet here that they've stepped up and paid, 25 players? This is from Norvell Central. Update. The Battle's End announces a relationship with Florida State true freshman wide receiver Hakeem Williams. Cannot wait to see Hakeem officially suit up for the Garnet and Gold 5-star receiver. And they've 32 days since their launch. At Battle's End has announced NIL deals with 25 plus players. So Florida State's NIL is cooking. Mike Norvell obviously is selling something that a lot of people like. Patrick Surtain is now reportedly headed for Florida State to become their secondary coach and one hell of a recruiter. Multiple all-time Pro Bowler. Has been coaching in high school football and has coached some college football as well, and now will be the secondary coach for Seminole. Pretty big get right there. I would expect to, he's got a great upward trajectory of coaching, and
not a lot of not really the collegiate experiences there, but I from everything that I was reading yesterday, he's excelled at the high school level with coaching, and also huge ties in the South Florida area.
Which is something
which has been kind of the big thing. When Cristobal, everybody assumed that Miami was going to roll down there. And by all accounts, Miami's got the 3rd-ranked recruiting class in the nation. So clearly Cristobal is doing something right. But Florida State has taken its fair share of guys from down south. Florida has done the same thing. So it's not like it's completely owned by Miami. Like Hakeem Williams was from down there, I believe. Yep. And he came to Florida State. So, but in general, though, again, these polls mean absolutely nothing.
Zippo.
But it just seems too good to be true.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The whole thing has been such a quick turnaround. Now, I say that knowing that TCU just had a first-year head coach and just made the College Football Playoff National Championship game.
Yep.
So one-year turnarounds, I guess, shouldn't be all that shocking anymore in college football.
Not
USC did it.
Yep.
Not with the portal.
Yep.
Tulane just won 10 more games. I know it's not shocking, but I guess because we're so much more familiar with the program and where it was, it's just hard to believe that we're seeing this team in like top 5 of polls now.
Well, I think you just have to have a paradigm shift as far as expectations. I think I said it last year, after, I thought that the FSU would have, I was hoping for 7 to 8 wins. I thought 7 wins would be good. 8 wins would be great.
Yeah.
10 wins was completely beyond my expectations, and a bowl win completely beyond that expectations. But I think because, it takes time to build your offensive and defensive lines. Those are the things that take time. You can go out and get skilled players all you want, but if you want to compete with the big boys, you got to be stout up front. And those are the hard guys to get and hard guys to find, hard guys to keep. And they've transformed their offensive line within a year. And now next year's offensive line looks to be even better. And defensively, they just added another rush end yesterday. South Carolina defensive end transfer Gilbert Edmond, former 4-star, will transfer to Florida State and be eligible immediately and have 2 years of eligibility. Last year, he started for South Carolina, had 39 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. So, this is something, and this is a big need for FSU. They need more. They need somebody opposite Jared Verse to come off the edge. They've got some good pass rushers, young pass rushers, but this is big for them. They also got the biggest interior defensive lineman, the highest rated one from Western Michigan, I believe, or somewhere up in Michigan.
Braden Fisk.
Yeah, Fisk. Yeah. So their portal class is ranked number 1. Their high school class, I think it's currently ranked around 19th.
Yep.
But when you combine the two, they've got as much new talent. And, of course, and the other thing about Florida State that people are noticing is how they've retained the talent. As I mentioned, Jared Verse is coming back, and obviously Jordan Travis is coming back. He was the highest-rated P5 quarterback in college football last year. Highest-rated, 91.5. So, I mean, you've got a Heisman Trophy quarterback candidate in Jordan Travis. You're freaking loaded at wide receiver. You're so loaded at running back that you lose Ward who's going to Kansas State, by the way. Kansas State suddenly, just killing it. So he's going to Kansas State, but obviously there's plenty of great running backs at Florida State. They've still got left Teofili, and Trey Benson is coming back. They've got the freshman's name escapes me, and they brought in another big-time recruit, so they're fine at running back. They're overloaded at receiver. This is going to be one hell of an explosive offense, and it'll be just a matter to see how the defense comes along. They're going to have talent. They're losing some guys, but I think this is
getting Lovett back was, I think, an unexpected surprise,
Yeah.
And the defense was really night and day with Lovett in there, and without him,
I think they didn't lose a game.
No, but the thing that they've done, though, is adding so much depth on the defensive line, they can manage a loss to him. If Jared Verse gets an injury again, like he did for a stretch this season, they can manage it because they have so many good players now that are just loaded there. So I get why a lot of people are putting him in 4. It just seems a little, I don't know. I just feel so premature to me to go all the way to 4. But I understand when you end it on 5-game win streak, you beat some of the biggest blue bloods in college football. There's a lot of buzz. You returned everybody. I get it.
Yeah.
The ACC, I think, looks for the taking. If you paid attention to Clemson against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, wasn't pretty there. Quarterback situation looks to be a big question mark for them now.
Yep.
And everybody else in the ACC, I think, is going to be down next year, save like in North Carolina, maybe with Drake May being back. So I see it, but it seems just a little bit too early for me.
Yeah, it's too good, too early.
Too good, too early.
You know what, though? It doesn't matter. Go out and play.
Yeah.
And that LSU game at the beginning of the season is just going to be
It's going to be fantastic.
Monstrous, and it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. And it'll be in Orlando at the crappy Camping World Stadium. Why don't they do those games in Tampa? We have a real stadium here.
I don't know. Orlando's just become the thing. Orlando's become the thing.
I got to find out. This probably has something to do with USF. It may have something to do with the Glazers in terms of they get so much of the money that they can't make the money work by paying the teams. So that could be part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, but I have to find out why that is, because nobody wants to go to Orlando the stadium's so awful. I mean, Orlando's fine.
It's not ideal,
but our stadium is a freaking Super Bowl stadium. Come on. It'd be so much better. And I'd get much better seats.
And also, too, the other
it's all about me. Let's just get right down to it.
Yeah, true. It's always about you. No, but the other school, too, I wanted to mention, too, obviously the local flavor was USF, because
I was going
something
to them.
Yeah, something we've been waiting to see for a long time finally took place yesterday.
It's beautiful. Their indoor facility, which was kind of halfway open this year, they used it for some practices, was officially ribbon cutted yesterday. The ribbon cutting was yesterday, and $22 million facility looks fantastic. And it's just exactly what they needed over there. It's something that signals to recruits that they've got a new locker room now. They've got a new indoor facility. Michael Kelly saying that he believes their facilities are as good as anybody in the Power Five.
It's up there.
It's good. It's fantastic. Have you been to Alabama? Been to Clemson?
Well,
for
you
USF,
sell the program. You got to sell the program.
Got to sell the program. I get it. But it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's exactly what the needs. And Mike Kelly's leadership has brought a lot of this to bear. And you got to, to get stuff like this done, you got to push hard and probably ruffle a few feathers. And he's done that. And this stadium is happening, folks. This on-campus stadium is happening. There was interesting. Joey Knight tweeted out the other day about the on-campus stadium. It's like, well, you better, take some of that money and put it into your NIL because your players are leaving in droves. And I don't know if it's about NIL. I mean, Brian Petit is going to what?
To Auburn.
He's going to Auburn. He led the nation in all-purpose yards last year. Not a guy that you want to lose if you're Alex Golesh. And this is happening. Why? Is because of NIL? No, because you won one game. The program is in the crapper, and you have. I hate to say that. That's just what it is. Your record suggests that. But these guys they got to go, man. It's the only college football experience they're ever going to have. And when Auburn is calling, and Colorado is calling. And Deion Sanders, you're going to go. And that's just something that Alex is going to have to deal with. But they've lost they've lost their best receiver in Xavier Weaver and Jimmy Horn and Brian Petit. And they kept Byron Brown, their emerging quarterback,
I think that's
which
the priority.
Yeah.
He's the quarterback. And I think if there's anything that you could hang your hat on from last season is you found your quarterback.
Yeah.
In all respect to Gary Buchanan, a very nice guy. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
I know he's going to be back here. In all respects, that job has to be Byron Brown's. It has to be Byron Brown's. He needs to be the guy that runs Coach Golesh's offense. And so when everybody, I agree with you. When everybody starts bitching about guys that are leaving, you have to just grow to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Do you think you just mentioned Trayshawn Ward for Florida State? It was the leading rusher this year.
Yeah.
When that first happened, we all went, what? Why are you leaving? Ascending team. You're a big part of this offense. Why are you leaving? It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is now. And for USF fans, I'll look to UCF just for a second because I'm familiar with it. When there was a coaching change there and UCF was in a lot better spot then than USF is now. When there was a coaching change, Dylan Gabriel went to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Robinson went to Ole Miss. A lot of the big players, they just went to bigger programs.
You got to be comfortable.
It just happens. Tatum Bethune went to Florida State.
Yep.
It just happens when there's coaching changes. So, would USF love to have Brian Petit and Jimmy Horn and Xavier Weaver here?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'd probably be thinking more about their record next year potentially if you have all those guys.
And when USF loses players like that, it's huge. When FSU loses players like that, it's not as big a deal because they have so many good players behind them. USF has got nobody like Brian Petit. He's got nobody like Xavier, not to their levels. And they're going to have to find them. And Alex is going to have to go recruit them. And I am full support of Alex, and I hope he does a great job. And I support USF and all you trolls out there that want to keep coming at me for my 90%. It's all good. You need some new material, but Alex was making the rounds last night at the Lightning game, and he chatted with Paul Kennedy. So courtesy of Bally Sports Sun. So we're going to throw that up and listen to his conversation with the great Paul Kennedy.
Here before a sellout house of 19,000. The Bolts are up 2-0. Coach Golesh is with us now. Welcome. It's great to have you here, Alex.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
What a landmark day this is for you. Today, the dedication of a new indoor practice facility. The mayor and John Castor was there. What a way to get started here your first weeks of
It's an incredible energy on campus right now, and an incredible energy getting our players back. We started workouts yesterday. It's good to actually have players to coach now, and it's been just I'm energized every time I walk in the building. It's incredible.
Let me ask you this. When you were at the University of Tennessee this past season, tremendous year, in the top 5, your offense leads the nation in scoring, point production, offense. Tell us about that. What is that attack all about, and why does it work so well?
Yeah, I think what happened there was a bunch of young people that bought into a vision, bought into, honestly, in a lot of ways, working harder than everybody else. And the offense itself is it's explosive. It's tempo. It's fast. It's spread. It's wide open. But, we've been able to do that the last handful of years. I think because of what we were preaching to the young people and what they were willing to do. I think when young men give more of themselves and they take from the whole, you can do incredible things. And we got that group there at Tennessee to really buy in and run with it, take the ownership and run with it.
You've had some incredible men that you have worked with this resume. You've been at Ohio State, at Oklahoma State, at Iowa State with Matt Campbell. How do you take a program from, say, 3 wins to 11 wins, if not more? What's the vision?
Yeah, for whatever reason, the good Lord's blessed me with being at places that maybe hadn't won in the past and allowed us to go build it. I think it all truly starts with worrying about one thing, and that's the process. And that's an overused word a little bit in recruiting and in programs, but I truly believe that the process of what it takes to win is more important than the actual end result. And I think when you can get young people to worry about the process, how you wake up, how you come to work, your attitude, your effort, more than you worry about what the end result is, you can do incredible things. And all of it is helping young people understand that you don't control the end result. The only thing you control is your daily process. And when things go good, you evaluate your process. When things go bad, you evaluate your process. And I think all those places you listed, we were able to get a program flip in the same common breath that we got the guys to worry more about the process than the end result. And I think that's true about life as well.
Well, Alex has got his hands full. There's no question about that. And his process, he's going to have to stick to the process, and it's going to have to show some early results. And I'm not real confident that with the players that they've lost, that's going to be possible.
That's true.
Not being able to retain those players is, and listen, I hate to say this, and USF fans are going to get so pissed off at me, but it needs to be said. If Deion was here, would those players be leaving? And this is no shot at Alex. But this is, when it comes down to it, and I've had some conversations on Twitter with some very reasonable USF fans, by the way, not some of you crazy folks. And they were in agreement. It's like when you have an opportunity to make a program-changing move, and USF had this opportunity. Deion was very interested in coming to USF, but he wanted a lot of money, and it was a huge risk for USF. And maybe it meant not being able to do the stadium and other things. And USF prioritized their process, which is to have someone that's more in. And this was the word that this booster I talked to used to. He said Deion is not part of the USF DNA, and I thought that was interesting. And I said, you know what? I think you're right, because USF has never, if you want to be honest about this, USF has never been serious about being a big-time player in college athletics. And that's okay. That's okay. You're a university first. And your job, your task is to educate the young people in this area and people who want to come here, and to educate them. It is not to give them a championship football team. I mean, just keeping it real here, okay? And that's, when Judy was there, that was her focus, academics, making this the best academic school, and she did a hell of a job in that way. But athletics was never prioritized, and that was her vision. And they've done a great job lifting USF from an academic standpoint to a certain level. There's no question about that. But athletics has never been a priority there, never. And with this new administration, it seems to be. And that's a good thing if you're a person that wants your university to be successful in athletics. There's no question that this new regime and the new board of trustees, led by Will Weatherford, getting this new stadium on campus, these are serious moves. This now tells me you want to be a player. Okay, well, if you want to be a player, you're going to have to step up in every area. And maybe it just wasn't the right time for Deion. And it wasn't the right time for Michael Kelly to say what the Colorado AD said was, no, we don't have the money, but we're going to go find it. Maybe it was the right time to do that. I don't know. But, Deion was look at the two speeches, and we played them the days that they happened, juxtaposing Alex's speech to his players and Deion's. Deion's was, get in the portal. Get the hell out of here. You guys are losers. I'm paraphrasing here. Here's your quarterback. It's my son. He's coming from Jackson State, and I'm bringing players that are smart, tough, not you guys. That's a tough pill to swallow, and there are a lot of administrations, and I think USF's one of them, who's like, yeah, we're not buying into that. We're not doing that to our current players. And I'm not saying either vision is right or wrong, but they're two different visions. They're two different processes. And Alex is a guy who is obviously makes a hell of a lot less money. Is not going to put you in a risk financially in terms of that. And maybe, USF was just looking for the program builder now, the guy that comes in and does everything right and builds your programs, gets the systems in place and does that thing and wins some games. And hopefully Alex could do that. The problem is if Alex does that, he's gone. He has 2 10-win seasons, and that's going to be pretty damn tough to do, or 7-win, 8-win seasons. Then, what's he going to do?
But it's always been like that at USF, and it's always going. That's just the reality.
Right.
It's so hard that you're going to get a coach that's just going to stick it out with you, even though
Right.
he's having. It's just not going to happen. I mean, the whole thing with expansion now to me has changed it, and I think to me that should be the big goal of USF.
Yeah.
Win enough games, get the stadium, fill the one you have now a little bit more, and see if you can put yourself in a better spot for expansion whenever they start poaching from the American. And that was my point when you were talking about, winning games this year without those guys. That's true. It's going to be tough, but look at the conference. And I know the conference wasn't always but there's a gap there with the teams that left. And look at the ones that came in.
Yeah.
North Texas, Charlotte, UAB, and believe it or not, the school that came in that is right now number 1 in this conference in recruiting, the UTSA Roadrunners.
That's right. Watch out.
With
San
all
Antonio.
respect to all those teams, I know USF, if they can get it, they should. Let's just put it that way. They should be near the top of this conference every single year if things were being run properly.
Yeah.
They should. So if
I would, and I'm, you can talk about Deion all you want, but again, I support Alex, and I know this is going to sound terrible, but Tom Herman, FAU hired a more experienced and better head coach.
Yeah, and I left FAU out. FAU's here too.
Than you did. And I'm here to tell you that I would have loved to see Trent Dilfer here, who's the new coach at UAB. I think that would have been a very inspired choice. Very inspired choice.
No.
Okay, we'll see.
House Golish is a really good coach. He just won the Broyles Award as the assistant of the year.
I'm not saying he's not. I fully support
him. The thing
him.
with Tennessee,
but in the NIL, in the NIL world, in the portal world,
well, look at the guys he's bringing into the portal. He's bringing in some pretty good guys from the portal.
Yeah.
They're coming from big schools.
Yeah, true. He's got some SEC kids coming in. No, it's good. Look, I support him. And listen, here's the other thing. Michael Kelly knows way more about where his program's at than I do. And I trust Michael Kelly to make the right choice. And did he make the right choice in this situation? I don't think he really had a choice, to be honest with you. I don't think you always have a choice. Like you go out and you hire Deion, you go out and find the money. You go out and find the money. That's one way to go. That's the way Colorado's going. But they're already a P5 school, and they have other advantages. So it's a different situation. And again, Michael knows a hell of a lot more about it than I do. And if you hire Deion, you give up all of your autonomy as an athletic director. He's running the show. And again, and that statement that prominent booster made to me, I think makes a lot of sense. That's not part of the USF DNA because they've never been an all-in athletic school. And maybe this is not the right time to do something like that. And Michael Kelly, I have a lot of faith in him, and he knows hell of a lot more about where the program is financially and everything else than I do. I know what I can see about how programs are starting to build, and it's a different world out there. The old rules aren't like the new rules, so it's a different deal. NIL, brings money. You got to have a sexy coach. You got to have a big name. You got to have someone with huge charisma that people already know that are going to bring people in. That's what USC did. But again, that's a different deal. Florida State and Mike Norvell, he wasn't a huge name, but he was a head coach and he had a track record. Alex has never been a head coach and doesn't have a track record. So there's a lot of things going into it here. And the bottom line is Michael Kelly's made his choice. It was his early choice. He's got the guy he wants. It feels somewhat like the previous guy. Let's just be honest about that. But this is, there are some differences. So let's see what happens. And I'm fully behind Alex, and I support USF, and I hope they go out and kick ass in this new situation with all the new things that are going on. Let's go.
And I think one of the differences when people are kind of say that they're the same him and Jeff Scott, in all respect to Jeff Scott, but he was working with Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And he was working with Trevor Lawrence. I'm not trying to diminish what he did there, because I'm looking at Clemson's offense since Jeff Scott has been gone. And I know part of that is the fact that you don't have those two elite quarterbacks, but the offense just hasn't been the same.
That's right.
I think both those things can be true. They need one another. I think, in fact, if I was Jeff Scott, I probably would go back to Clemson. I think that'd be a smart move for him right now.
Yeah.
But Alex Golesh went to a place that was Tennessee, and think of everything that him and Josh Heupel and that whole entire staff took over.
Yeah.
The Jeremy Pruitt thing, which was a disaster. The whole recruiting issues, the scholarship, whatever that whole thing was going on with the McDonald's bags, which seems so silly now, but it was a real thing. And you bring in a quarterback who couldn't play at Virginia Tech when Virginia Tech was at its lowest, comes to Tennessee as a reclamation project, wasn't even supposed to be the starter. I believe that was supposed to be Joe Milton, if I'm not mistaken, at first.
Right, yeah.
And he takes this guy, and if he doesn't get hurt,
wins the Heisman.
He's probably winning the Heisman. And Tennessee is in the college football playoff and maybe in the national championship.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference there. When you look at the way that Jeff Scott kind of made his name,
But
and
you
look at
wonder
the way Alex Golesh
how much
made
of that
his
was
name.
just Josh Heupel, how much of that was it, and how much is Alex? I don't know, but I know this: every place Alex has been, like he said, he's taken that team.
Everything
has
has
gone from
been
not very
up here.
good to pretty damn good.
Yeah,
every place
and what
he's
he's coached and what he's focused on.
Every place he's been, and as a team, they've had success.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting, but it's still it's a huge wild card. It's a huge wild card. I don't know what to expect. I couldn't even give you a number of next year what I expect them to win. I have no freaking clue.
Yeah, we got to see the schedule
and USF's offense was fine last year. They were in top 30, I think, in the nation. Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah, it's the defense. They've got to get guys in the trenches. I think that's where they just got bullied around on both sides. Really, just killed them.
Yeah, you and that's always the hard part to do. So, and Alex has a process. He knows what it takes to win. Now, can they get it done?
But I did like he was at the Lightning game before we move on. Was it a good reception last night when he was there and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I like the fact that they're kind of showing him off and everything.
Yeah, I think people in Tampa Bay are just begging for USF to do something. They really are. I mean, we're ready for it. I would like to see, the fan base in college football. The fan base has to come before the wins. You got to get people to get to the games and create an atmosphere for the recruits to come, because you need the Jimmies and Joes. But it's hard to ask your fans to sit through this awful stuff, and it's not.
It is, and don't go out, by the way, because I know USF fans did this last year with the BYU game, and I'm not going to blame them because they only won one game. But I knew a lot of USF fans who told me after the BYU, I'm done with the season. I'm not watching any more games.
Right.
And a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
Now they only won one game. My point with that is they're going to get blasted by Alabama, but don't let it just wait.
That's their third game.
Yeah, they're going to get blasted by Alabama early in the season. We know that's going to happen. Don't jump off the ship on the first season.
No.
Don't do it.
No.
And go to that game, by the way. Please go to that game.
Well, there'll be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people.
I know there are going to be a lot of people from Tuscaloosa, but go to that game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. John Gerber's going to join us. We'll talk a little PGA Tour, and we got some other Bucs stuff we want to get to, and we'll also hear from John Cooper. We haven't played Coop from last night. So lots to get to. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Logan and his team will get you straight if you're looking to boost your immune system and get healthy, which is a very important thing to do these days. They've got some great programs for you for that. Lose weight, testosterone replacement therapy, also something that they will help you with. And Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Shop your insurance around, folks, especially your homeowner's insurance, right? If you just got your bill for the year, Shop it around. Let them do the work. They can probably save you lots and lots of money. So give them a call at 813-877-7799. Please tell them JP sent you. All right, back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation, because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com, and tell them JP sent you. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be
could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance and the Gold and Diamond Source and AMS Mortgage Tampa. Scott Fitzgerald, if you need a mortgage, he is your man. Scott at amstampa.com, Scott at amstampa.com. Rates are going up. Obviously, you know that, but they'll find you the best rate. So if you need a refi or you're looking for a new home, he's got all the best products. So check him out. Scott at AMS Tampa, the best in the business. Just give him an email and he will set you up. All right, let's talk some golf with our good friend John Gerber, PGA Pro. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
Great. So how's things in Dallas? They're getting a bunch of watch out for Tom Brady stuff going on over there at the Star, my friend.
Oh, I tell you what, man, it's crazy over here. The weather's good. It's going to be about 80 degrees today. So everybody's kind of out in their jerseys and shorts, and they're getting ready for Tampa for sure. I'm kind of torn a little bit between the game. You know, I'm a fan of both teams, a lifelong Dallas fan, but I think they're going to have their hands full going into Tampa playing on that grass.
Yeah, well, that was a weird stat that Nick was telling me, that the Cowboys are 1-6 on grass their last 7 games, and I think maybe 1-4 this year. That's bizarre.
Wow, that's a crazy stat. I think Dallas, when their success playing here on the turf, I think they want to go fast with Pollard, right?
Right.
So I think that's a little bit of an equalizer when he's playing on grass. I don't think they can play to the speed as they want to with some of their faster guys. So maybe that's kind of the equalizer when it comes to turf and grass for Dallas.
Well, nobody handicaps grass like you. So I knew you would have a handicap number for this Bucs Cowboys game, and that's it. So they got to play on the natural stuff here in Tampa Bay. So I don't know, man. Advantage Bucs.
Yeah. I know that Bermuda grass doesn't grow very high like bent grass and bluegrass.
Nope.
But if they can get that Bermuda grass up high, I think that could slow the Dallas Cowboys down for sure.
I think you may have something there. No question about it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about last week's tournament. I literally turned it on after I played golf on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, Morikawa is up by 7 shots heading to the back 9. This is over. I'm not even going to watch. What the hell happened? How did Jon Rahm win? What happened?
It's one of those tournaments, it's obviously a short field, and I didn't put Morikawa in the car just because that place, like we talked about last week, has a tendency to get windy just like this week, and the wind didn't blow from Morikawa. So if you look at his 2 major championships and his other 2 PGA Tour events, they're predominantly places that the wind does blow, the British Open and out west when he won the PGA, but it didn't blow those weeks.
Right.
And notoriously, he's one of the worst wind players on the PGA Tour, and he just kind of lucked out to where that the wind didn't blow there, and he got jumped up in the leaderboard. And a little bit too, he's not the greatest chipper of the golf ball in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start chipping around that really, grainy Bermuda grass, it kind of comes into you and you're kind of chipping uphill. You can stick some of those shots and flub some of those shots or hit it thin. And you saw that happen to him. And Jon Rahm just, he just hung around.
Yeah.
And, played really good on the last round, and, Morikawa didn't. So, good for Jon Rahm. Neither of those guys we had on our card last week, and it wasn't the best week, but, we'll move on to this week.
That's right. You can't win them all. That's golf. So all the more reason you may win this week. So let's get to the Sony Open, the first full field event. And I noticed a lot of people are picking Tom Kim, the new sensation on the PGA Tour, from a playing standpoint and a personality standpoint. Everybody loves this young kid. You got Tom Kim on the card this week. What do you got?
No, I don't have Tom Kim on the card.
Right.
A reason being is this is one of these golf courses that knowledge is key. It's a very kind of quirky golf course, short for PGA Tour standards, and 7,000-yard par 70, a lot of dog legs. And the guys who played well there has played well there in the past. He's never just tournament conditions or at, he played in the practice rounds. But I don't really like him. Like I said, it's just a quirky little golf course that plays polar opposite of what last week did in Maui. So he's not on the card this week, but we do have a strong card. I like this field with our first pick, Cam Davis, at 32-1. This is his fourth tournament. This is his fourth time playing this event. He's never finished out of the top 20. And 2 years ago, he finished tied for fourth. So I like Cam Davis, not playing last week, coming into this week refreshed. And it's a little bit like, Cameron Smith. They grew up in kind of the same area in Australia, same type of grass, same type of, conditions. So I like Cam Davis this week as our first pick. Second pick, KH Lee at 32-1 also. Great success here. He's kind of on the rise. He lives here in Dallas, plays that Bermuda grass really well, grainy Bermuda grass, where he plays at TPC. Craig Ranch. So I like him in our second spot this week.
Okay.
Our third spot, the guy I know you like, Billy Horschel at 35-1.
Yes.
I don't really like how we played last week, but I think it's going to get windy. And if there's any grinder out there better than Billy Horschel, I'd like to know, because he's probably one of the best grinders. And playing this type of grass, playing these type of conditions, I think he's going to have a good week, even though he didn't play well last week. Our ham sandwich pick, our long shot, is Andrew Putnam at 50-1. He's had good success there in the past. He's one of those guys that, probably wins every 1 or 2 years. I think he wants to get off to a strong start, knowing he's not exempt for next year because he didn't win. So this is kind of one of his years. He needs to jump off to a strong start. So I like him on a little shorter golf course. The guy hits the ball straight at 50-1, our ham sandwich.
I like that.
2 top 10 picks this week, guys. Webb Simpson, plus 650. He hasn't played a lot of golf at the beginning of the year, but this guy's never, if you watch him at this golf course in this tournament, I mean, how could you not bet on Webb Simpson? He has success every single year. I don't think he's finished out of the top 20 probably in the last 4 years he's played here. So if it's not windy, he's perfect. He can shape the ball both ways, left to right and right to left. And that really lends well for this type of golf course out there. So he's our second pick, Russell Knox at plus 700 to finish in the top 10. I think he's one of those guys that always plays well there. Again, I'm looking at these guys. It's just really have a lot of success out there. Russell Knox for sure is one of those guys. Have success last few years. 700. 2 top 20s picks this week. I'm gonna ride Adam Scott again at plus 175 to finish in the top 20. Okay. I know he didn't play well last week in Maui, but again, as we talked about last week, I would really like for him to have a good year, knowing he only has a few really good years left for him to get off to a good start. I like him in the full field event here in Sony. And our last 20, our last pick this week is Mark Hubbard, plus 500. A lot of you guys probably don't know who Mark Hubbard is, but he's one of those grinders on the PGA Tour. Again, he's one of those guys that always needs to get off to a strong start. If you look at his career, he gets off to a strong start at the beginning, kind of logs through the summer, and then kind of is a little bit behind the 8 ball in the fall, and he starts to play some pretty good golf again. So I think this is a real good spot for Mark Hubbard to finish in the top 20 at plus 500.
All right. So we got to recap Cam Davis. Who was the second guy? Cage Lee?
Cage Lee, 32-1.
All right. Billy Horschel and Andrew Putnam. The top 10, Webb Simpson and Russell Knox. And top 20, Adam Scott and Who was the last guy? I can't read.
Mark Hubbard.
Mark
Hubbard.
Can't read my own writing. All right, and you're picking the Bucs to win because it's on grass and not artificial turf. That's your official PGA Tour handicap of the grass.
I like the Bucs. I like the Bucs winning by 4.
By 4. So you think they're gonna? Well, they're the underdogs. So right now. But that line may change. We shall see as we get closer to game time. So the people are Dallas. Yeah. Well, what's the conversation there? Like, oh, it's same old Dallas. They're going to choke in the playoffs. They always do. Blah blah. They down on Dak and what the Cowboys did last week. I think they're going to play a lot better.
It's a mixed bag, right? I mean, the real fans are never going to say, "Oh, Cowboys are terrible. Cowboys are terrible." They're a bit unrealistic sometimes, like Ohio State Buckeye fans, right? So I'm pretty close to those fans also. Yep. So they have a little similar unrealistic things when it comes to Dallas and Ohio State. But it's a mixed bag here. I think they're going to go. My opinion, I think they'll go as the running game goes. If you look at Dak's career, when he has, I believe it was when Zeke has over 100 yards rushing or Tony Pollard, his success rate is huge. I think it's like 80% or 85%. So if they're really going to have a chance to win that game, I think they got to rely on the running game. But again, that lends to that grass. So they're going to be able to create that speed. And I don't think they are. But the tone in Dallas, they're unrealistic here. I think Dak's in trouble if he loses this game. I mean, how long can you continue to go with status quo here and not have some success in the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, what about Mike McCarthy? I mean, Jerry said he's not going to fire him if he loses this game. I'm not sure I believe him.
Do you believe anything Jerry says?
No, not really.
I don't either. Jerry's a marketing guy and a sales guy, and he's gonna take all the pressure off the guys that's trying to play the game. But he's on the hot seat too. I think Mike McCarthy's always on the hot seat when the Cowboys don't live up to the internal expectations, right?
Well,
and the internal expectations are always high. So, I've never been a McCarthy fan, but Jerry's gonna push the buttons no matter what, who's in that spot. So I think McCarthy's just a little puppet for him.
All right. John Gerber, PGA Pro. We talk to him every week, win some money with him. He's been very successful at this. So we'll tweet your graphic when you put it up from the Rough podcast coming up. What time? Where do they find that?
Yeah, you can go from the Rough podcast from 6 to 7. Monday, Wednesday, and we're going to start Friday again on DSP Media and on FanStream Sports app. You can join us 3 days a week from 6 to 7 Eastern Time, and check all the great content there on FanStream Sports and DSP Media.
It's awesome, man. We appreciate your partnership, my friend, and we look forward to winning some money this week. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, fellas. Have a good weekend.
John Gerber right there. All right. So when he has a down week, you better bet the next week because he's going to be up this week. I'm telling you, can't win them all, but he's won his share, and that's all documented, unlike many of the other touts that are out there. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back on the other side, and we'll get to some other college football. Some little Rays news as well that we got to get to. We'll also hear from John Cooper. We haven't played Coop from last night. I thought that was kind of interesting, so we'll get to all that when we come back. We're brought to you by Bay Area Medical Center and the G Law Group. If your car has been totaled in an accident, you don't think you got what it was worth, give them a call. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com and get a free consultation. See if you have a case. Back in 3.
To make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have tax returns available, that will be great. You don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience includes son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate that. Brought to you by BAMMC.com and the great folks at Jeeves Law Group. All right, a couple things I want to get to before we get to John Cooper. And this is great news that you just delivered to me. Damar Hamlin discharged? He's going home?
Yeah. The Bills just announced 10 minutes ago that he's been discharged from the Buffalo hospital and he's able to continue his rehab at home.
A week and a half and he's already back home.
Yep,
That's
9 days. 9 days.
That is amazing. What a great story.
So you probably won't get better news than that today.
You think he's going to come back and play?
I mean, who knows? I mean, at this point, let's be real. We went through some periods where we didn't know if he was even going to survive this. So I'm sure playing is far from a lot of people's minds right now.
I mean, the soccer player Erickson, I know it's a different sport, but highly aerobic sport, obviously.
Yeah.
He's come back and played after dying on the field.
Yeah. I'm not anywhere near qualified to speculate on what's going on with him, but
we don't know. Nobody knows what happened.
It'll depend on, I guess, the severity of what's the lungs, all those type of things. So
yeah, very interesting. We'll have Chris Lugo on Monday again to come on, and I've given him a little homework assignment to kind of find out, what he knows and what he can tell us about that whole situation. Because obviously he's worked in emergency rooms, and as he told me yesterday, he's obviously seen a lot of people die right in front of him of cardiac arrest and those type things. And so a few people are more qualified than him to see what they did, how they did it, why they did it. And there just hasn't been a whole lot of answers on what happened with him. And that's, I think a lot of parents, a lot of people in college football and pro football would like to know, so that there could be steps taken to avoid it or be able to make, choices to whether keep playing or not.
Yeah. And kind of not on the same topic, but in the same vein of injuries, things like that. This just came through as well. Tua will not play against the Bills in the playoff game. So
who's getting the start?
Skylar Thompson.
Wow.
So I'm sure Scott Reynolds is very excited to see that.
I mean, we saw him play in preseason. The kid looks good.
I watched him play a little bit.
I didn't see a lot of last week.
I watched him
score a lot of points.
Yeah, they didn't exactly come over my screen on Red Zone much.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
10
but
points.
That game, what did it finish? Like it was like 6-3. I feel like for like 3 quarters. They could not move the ball at all, which is why, I mean, this is a conversation for the offseason, but oh my goodness. If Tua almost is like strengthening his argument right now and why he should get a long-term contract. He really is, because this offense is unwatchable, unplayable without him.
Dude, how do you give him a long-term contract with big guaranteed money when I don't even sure he's going to be able to play again. This is his 3rd concussion in a year. And he had the one that was grotesque in terms of how it looked. I mean, it was bad. And his concussions have been, I mean, really bad. Like we've seen him on the field wobbling and the whatever he did with his hands that one time, that would scare the living hell out of me. And I just don't know if it's prudent for him to play again. And again, we don't know anything about the metrics of his situation, but it's from what we've seen. I don't know. And it also kind of gives me a little bit of pause. And I think, people are talking about this as well. Bryce Young is obviously a fabulous, fabulous quarterback, but he's also 5'11", 190. And I'm not sure that some of these more, like I look at some of the, Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, Josh Allen, some of these running quarterbacks, these guys are 230, 40 pounds. Yeah. They're big men and they're strong men. Bryce is not. Tua is not. Kyler Murray is not. And these guys are getting hurt. And I'm not saying a guy like that, Bryce, he can't play in the NFL. It just remains to be seen. It's hard to, and they talk about Bryce doesn't throw the ball over the middle a lot because he can't see down the field. And he doesn't, is his arm strength good enough to make the throws that are needed in the NFL? These are questions, question marks. So I don't think Tua, I'm just not sure he's going to be able to play again. And do they then obviously look to bring in Brady? Another discussion for another time, but I think that's entirely possible. No question about it. The final power rankings by ESPN in college football, they had obviously Georgia number 1, TCU number 2, which is interesting after that last game. Michigan 3, Buckeyes 4, Alabama 5, Tennessee, who finishes 11-2 in a 31 win over Clemson without Hendon Hooker. 11. You still look back at that loss when he tore his ACL, 63-38 to South Carolina. That was just bizarre, and cost obviously Tennessee the championship to get into the playoff. Penn State. Penn State had a really good season. Their only losses were to Michigan and Ohio State. Yeah. Close games for the
not the Michigan game.
Not the Michigan game. Yeah, that's true. Washington at number 8. Washington finishes at number 8. It's with Michael Penix Jr. from Tampa Tech, right? Tampa Tech kid. Tulane finishes number 9. How about Tulane? We never really talked a lot about them this year. But my goodness, they finished 12-2 in the Cotton Bowl victory over USC. How about that?
UCF beat that team. I'm just going to put it out there.
How about that?
They didn't beat them when it mattered, but they beat them nonetheless this year.
Florida State finishes number 10. Number 10. There might not be a team heading into the offseason hotter than the Seminoles right now. Florida State won 10 games for the first time since 2016. The quarterback Jordan Travis is coming back, throwing for 418. Running for another 50 and 2 touchdowns against Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl. And they got Trey Benson, Fabian Lovett, and Jared Verse all coming back. And they're preseason ranked top 4, which means nothing, but we'll see. And they still got some recruiting left to do.
And my final thing that just came through here is for all you people that love lists and all pros, the official all pro team was named today. If you're looking for any Bucs, don't waste your time. They're not here. That's all I'll say about that. There's no Bucs. I would have said Tristan Wirfs to me, but Lane Johnson plays that position. And given the year that Philadelphia had, it's a trend here. There's a lot of Eagles all over the place, but no Bucs.
Yeah. That's a thing. It's a thing, folks. When you
like Aaron Donald, I feel like they just threw him another nomination just because.
A bouquet.
little bouquet just because. Cordell Patterson, who missed half the season,
is the
kick returner, which I would have given it.
Maybe because he set the NFL record.
I would have given it to Nyheim Hines just because of the last week.
Maybe the votes were already in.
I think the votes were already in, but there you go. No Bucs on the All Pros.
Okay. All right. John Cooper last night after the 6-3 win over a struggling Columbus team.
Very much so struggling.
And he wasn't real happy. And I probably think he to let that team come back into the game with some sloppy play, it's not what he wanted.
Well,
so we'll listen to him.
Mind you, he called out the team in Winnipeg too before this. So
Big time. Here's a little Coop post.
The way that you guys kind of responded after Winnipeg and kind of what we were talking about the past couple of days, trying to correct your game a little bit.
Well, I like the fact that we won. Did we improve on some of the things we wanted to improve? Yeah, we took a heck of a lot less penalties tonight. Probably, but our goal is to win the hockey game, and our goal is to make sure our team is playing as best we possibly can. And I thought a lot of things we did tonight were excellent. But watch some of the goals go in the net like they did tonight, just on how we played them and our urgency in some situations. I think we can get a little bit better at that. And we played parts of that game up 3-1, up 5-2, up 6-2, and then we played 11 and finished the way we would have. So that was probably the only sour note of the night. But did we make steps in the right direction? There's no question.
When you have, like I'm thinking back to I think it was the first goal. It's just wide open down the middle. Is that like a coverage breakdown? Is that something that you can fix?
That wasn't the first goal.
Second goal, sorry.
Second goal, there was four of us going up to break out a puck, and their guy beat us in all situation there. And then we left the zone early, and we left probably the juiciest part of the ice wide open. So that I think if we could do that one over again, guys would play it differently.
You said in the past, defend our way to wins. Is that what you feel the team will be able to do? Because
I don't know, were you in the locker room when I gave the post-game speech? That was that was something we talked about. Again, listen, take your 2 points, move on to the next game. There was a lot to like about the game, and I'm not going to sit here and say a few moments that ended up in the back of the net are going to sour the night, but it's something we definitely have to get better at. Our third period, we just played way too loose in a game that, when we had the lead we should have just played simple, killed the clock, and moved on to Vancouver. And we almost did that, didn't quite. But we've got 2 more points right now than we did 2.5 hours ago. That's a good thing.
You get domestic off tonight, and you get the goal from Colton to find a little bit more balance scoring. How much do you need that more going forward?
Well, it's great to see that for guys. Like Patty gets an assist. The 2 guys you mentioned. I mean, you want everybody to score, and because these guys feel better about themselves, feel like they're contributing. And oftentimes when players aren't on the score sheet for a few games, they think that they're not contributing when they actually are. And so when I thought Vladdy's goal was huge. We had that 2-0 lead. They scored, and that was soon after where he gave us that 3-1 lead. And so big goal at a big time, and it's a good sign when those guys start scoring.
You always want to get off to good starts.
As John Cooper after last night's game, they got Vancouver coming in tomorrow night, so hopefully they'll get another 2 points against another struggling team. And then it's off on the road. They got Seattle, they got St. Louis, and then there's Seattle on Monday, which is going to be a day game, 4:00 our time, so you can watch a little Bolts at your tailgate party for the Bucs on Monday. So that'll be good. They wanted to get this in as well. After what happened with Damar Hamlin. Another football player has had a cardiac arrest, and this one did not make it. And he's also a member of the U.S. Air Force, played for the U.S. Air Force Academy. Hunter Brown died Monday after suffering a medical emergency while he was on his way to class. They tried to revive him and could not. He was walking from his dorm when he experienced a medical emergency. That's all they're saying. First responders performed life-saving measures, but Brown ultimately passed away. He was a sophomore offensive lineman on the Air Force Falcons football team, played on the offensive line, appeared in 2 games during the 2022 season. 21 years old, just drops dead on his way to class at the Air Force. So sad that this is happening so often with young people. It's absolutely crazy. We've never seen anything like it. And hopefully we can start getting some information that will find out what the hell's going on. And we'll just leave it at that at this particular time. But we will mourn the death of a young person and a football player taken far too soon. Then we will absolutely celebrate the fact that Damar Hamlin has been discharged and is heading home. And that is awesome. All right. Our thanks to Brian Bradley, who joined us today and talked a little Bolts with us. John Gerber as well. We'll get his picks up there. If you want to do a little golf gambling this week on the Sony Open, that'll be fun. We will be back tomorrow. Casey Hudson's going to join us tomorrow. We'll also have some more surprises for you. Probably have a guest from Dallas as well that we're working on as we get closer and closer to what's going to be an incredible wild card weekend. And we'll also talk a little Bolts as well. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.